Nikolas Cruz case. I'll let you go now. Let me bring in my guest for this hour. Joining me, trial attorney Gabriel Sepulveda-Sanchez. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for being with me this evening. And, you know, the circumstances aren't so great. There are no winners here. But clearly, the defense will walk away from this with a sigh of relief. At the end of the day, what resonates with me, and maybe resonated with the 1 or 2 or 3 jurors who sort of felt the same way, was that you will never regret voting for life. And certainly that had to have resonated, but it seemed that it came down to the mitigating factor. This idea that there was mental health issues, perhaps he didn't get the help from the system he needed, and that put him in a position not to be put to death. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, first things first, you know, my heart goes out to the families. That was very difficult to watch and hear. And the reality is that the defendant showed no mercy to the children and the victims here. And I definitely feel that for them. And because there was no mitigating factors for the victims. And why does he have mitigating factors? He showed no mitigating factors to the sons and daughters of these parents. So my heart goes out to them. What really comes to mind here is one of the biggest issues I would think when you're selecting a jury for this sentencing is you really got to really weed out those types of jurors that are going to be sympathetic to someone with mental illness. And you got to ask the right types of questions. And I'm not sure because I didn't see how they picked this, how this jury got impaneled. But one of the things I really would be concerned with was, is there any jurors on this panel right now that when they hear evidence that this person has come from had a bad upbringing, saw his father get killed, his mother was on drugs and alcohol when he was born, there's evidence of mental illness, could you still impose the death penalty on this defendant knowing that circumstantial evidence, which the defense is going to present? And I'm curious to see what the jurors were saying about that, because if I were a prosecutor, I would want to really get rid of those types of jurors that are going to be very sympathetic to someone with mental illness, someone that's had a horrible background upbringing. That type of juror could have been eliminated. Maybe they weren't vocal about it. Maybe they didn't talk about that candidly with the prosecutor and the defense attorney. But I would be really concerned that someone would be sympathetic to the defendant that has mental illness and had this abnormal upbringing. But I don't personally, I don't think, I'm really shocked that they didn't put this guy, give him the death penalty. He wasn't insane. He knew what was right from wrong. Mental illness doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't mean that you don't know right from wrong. I'm just very shocked at this result. But you know, this is the jury system we live in. This is what the citizens of Florida, this is their rights they're exercising. And at the end of the day, we trust the jury system to get it right. So it's a very shocking result for me, though.
Yeah, no question about it. And you know, there was a question on by a number of the families as to whether justice was done, Gabriel. And again, the best we can do, the best answer you can have to that is that it went through the system and a jury of 12 made this decision, and that's what we have to live with. And that, unfortunately, in this case for them, is what justice looks like. All right.
Yes.
A lot more coverage coming up, Gabriel. Stand by. I do have to take a quick break. And as you can imagine, folks, the families of the 17 victims had a lot to say. Coming up next, we're going to hear their outrage. And then later, in our Talkback segment, we want to know what you think about the jury's decision to spare Nikolas Cruz's life. Let us know what you think, and we'll share some of your comments later on in the show. We'll be right here on Go TV.